Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel, Philosmos. So, I'm sure you all know my name already. My name is Fumani, and today I have a very interesting topic for you. Something that's quite controversial, something that we actually don't like to talk about, and that is the prospect of death. So, growing up, we have this anxiety. Some people it's apparent, some people it's very subtle, it's hidden, of the prospect of dying one day. There's a time scheduled for you where you will no longer exist. That, quite frankly, is quite scary because it's the unknown. But our main premise to death is actually that it's the cessation of consciousness. But this is inaccurate because consciousness, okay, has two main ways, in fact, two ways only of expressing itself. There's the active consciousness and the inactive consciousness, of course. So the active form of consciousness is the experience of being alive, the life energy within you that allows you to think, that allows you to breathe, that allows you to move. Every living organism has that active side of consciousness within it. Although it expresses itself differently, nonetheless, it's still there. Then we have the inactive form of consciousness, one that corresponds very well to the deep sleep state, where there's no recollection of any images, no memories. It's just the blank state where there's just no activity. But what we don't understand, what we fail to understand, is that it is the inactive state that actually produces the active state. So consciousness starts off inactive and then follows activity, and activity always moves back into an activity. So Ludwig Wittgenstein once said, death, sorry, he said death is not an event in life, okay? Basically, his philosophy was that the present moment is eternity. Why? Because it's absent of time. It is time that brings our conception of what eternity is. And eternity, from the normal contemporary way of looking at eternity, is the continuation of life forever, like the never-ending process of being alive, or just experiencing. That's eternity. However, eternity from this new perspective is now timelessness, the absence of time. No more future, no more past, just this moment right here, which is always here and always has been here. And that is the present moment. So, in the present moment, death is the most illusionary concept that you can ever describe about the present moment, because what death is it's a concept, and we can never actually experience death because death requires a subject, an observer, somebody, a unitary self to experience it. I need a tree to experience a tree. I cannot just experience a tree without having no concept or no recollection of an actual tree. So dying is the closest thing that can describe death as reality. And dying is in itself incorrect as well, because there is no such thing as dying, there's only change. So what happens is that the life energy, because that's the law of energy, in the sense that energy is never destroyed, it only changes form. So the life energy, that sensation that makes you feel alive, that makes you feel like you are you, that you are here, that's the active form of consciousness. And when you die, you are merely changing the expression of your consciousness to an inactive state. And the inactive state does not imply that there's death, that there's a cessation of the self. When we look at this physically, look at the physical universe itself, matter itself never perishes. When you die as a human organism, as a body, you find yourself in the process of bio degradation, or maybe that's the wrong term for a human body, but it finds itself disintegrating into the natural world, the soil, and then the soil produces another living organism, which is plants, you see. So there is never actually death. There's a change in the expression of life. And you are that life, I am that life, that tree is that life, the garden's that life, the sky is that life, everything is part of that life, which is housed in consciousness. So when we understand death from that perspective, it's not a philosophy that now says, okay, because death is no longer an actual experience, let me just live this life irresponsibly and do everything that my heart desires, which were never even investigated. I'm not stating that. What I am stating is that from this new premise, that anxiety that sits in the background of actually investigating death no longer exists. So it's about appreciating the active form of that consciousness, the active form, the way it expresses itself with you, okay? Appreciating it, because you know once that changes, it's going to return to an inactive state and return back to an active state that is no longer the same as the active state that you occupy right now. So it's about appreciating everything that life has to offer, but realizing that it will return back into the inactive state, whether it's a good experience, whether it's a bad experience, and whether it's you as a subject itself, as a subject yourself, you yourself are active right now, but you will return to the part where you're inactive. And that, do not correlate that with vacancy, but it's just the expression of consciousness where it's resting, providing platform for a new consciousness to be active. Okay, so death itself is an illusion. Death needn't be approached with grief, with a loss. There is no loss. Everything that is gained is never really actually gained. Okay, because nothing is actually yours, because everything is yours. Thus, when you lose something, it's a law of energy. You're gaining something, and you're gaining an inactive state. And an active state always produces something active, you see. So whenever life seems to take something away from you, it is only providing platform for something new to come out. So thank you very much. That's my topic for today. Very short and sweet. And let me end it off as I always end it off. For those who seek, seek no more, for in the present we find it all. Thank you very much.